Yeah, hello everyone. Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
एक सेकंड we'll just wait for confirmation थोड़ा time. है इधर बाकी प्रयांत वगैरह ट्रेनिंग कोऑर्डिनेटर्स है इधर. So once they confirm कि हमारा लाइव शो हो रहा है, we'll start. Oh, we'll start in 5 minutes. Damn. चलेगा. As such ऐसा 1 घंटे का कंटेंट भी है नहीं इतना. हाफ एन आवर सफाइस कर जाएगा. अरे प्रयांत, लाइव स्टार्ट होने से मेरे को बोलना. Okay. So yeah, are we live here? I think we are. Okay, guys. Uh, कोई ट्रेनिंग कोऑर्डिनेटर एक बार चैट में कंफर्म, इफ यू गाइस कैन कंफर्म दैट विल बी ग्रेट. Yeah. Okay. Great. So, good morning, everyone. I am Omkar Amlan Krishna, your current chief coordinator for this academic year. I'll be talking to you on behalf of the Training Committee and Career Development Center in IT Rourkela. Along with me, we have Jyotishman Mahanti and Arshita Mishra. Moderating today's session will be one of your training coordinators, Jayesh Naik. And the whole point of today's session is to just give you a basic brief, a workaround of what we are going to do over the next academic semester, how we are going to train you to tackle process for your upcoming intern season, and how we can just guide you to a route that will potentially help you make the best of the season. Before I start anything, let me just give you a clear idea. The internship season and placement season are very unpredictable, and it is best to have a couple of things in mind before we start. The sole point of this session is to grant you perspective into those couple of things so that we can kick off the training process and make it go smoothly so that you could potentially bag the best opportunity that you can. So let's move forward with the presentation. So I just quickly introduced you over to the chief coordinators already. That is going to be the three of us, Arshita, Jyotishman, and myself. Apart from that, we have a team of a total of 25 training coordinators whom you will be interacting with, knowing, and meeting shortly. These are the guys who will guide you through and through on this journey. Okay? Just take a note of all the branch, who the training coordinators in a branch are. They will be reaching out to you personally via WhatsApp groups as well. They are your first point of contact with the training committee and CDC as a whole. So make sure to stay in contact with them, ask them doubts, make sure if you have any questions regarding the training process, regarding what placements or internships are coming in, they are your first point of contact. Do not hesitate. Let me make one thing very clear. It is our job to make sure that you guys are well prepared for the upcoming training season, upcoming internship season. It is our very job, and we will not hesitate or hold back on answering any of your questions. Please feel free to approach us. Okay? So yeah, our mission is to prepare you for the upcoming intern season. And let me make it very clear: the current scenario is extremely competitive. I can give you examples of people who are extremely skilled, who have great resumes, who know their shit in DSA, algos, or their technical field, and they still struggle to get an opportunity just because how dominant and heavy the market is in rooting out freshers as of now. Fair. There are people with several professional internships who still struggle to crack an FTE opportunity just because they do not have relevant work experience. Fair. So again, all of this is not meant to scare you. We have been through this process for 2 years, and even though we do not claim to understand everything through and through, we have a few ideas and pointers as to where to guide you. Okay, moving forward, let's just quickly brief you about the upcoming internship opportunities that you may have. 6 month internship is not something that is very valid for you guys as of now, since you'll be joining in for the internship training session. However, the research internship process is very valid for you. So let's just say some of you want to go into the field of research and R&D as you progress. So in such cases, depending on your domain of research, there are several research postings that are open throughout the country. There are also a few foreign ones, but I believe they are not actively accepting Indian students anymore. However, the ones in our own country, like I know several IITs like IIT Roorkee and IIT Kanpur, these programs are very, very open. And let me make one thing very clear. Like it has been mentioned in the presentation, Spark by IIT Roorkee and Surge by IIT Kanpur are two major internship programs that are running in our country right now. However, apart from this, every major engineering institute or sciences institute can always take you under as a research intern if you approach the respective professors via cold email or just reach out to them personally. Again, these are sessions that the training committee will take on, cold mailing and cold DMing sessions, to help you just get a better template on how to cold email, how to cold DM, and how to reach out to people. This is something that is planned as we go, and we'll let you know as the times come. Okay, so moving forward. So let's just walk over the plan of action and how we are actually going to proceed throughout this academic semester. As you know, you guys are not privy to the last year's training process. However, I will just give you a very important brief on how important a resume is to any form of recruitment process, be it for internships or for full-time employment or placements. So your resume is a single sheet of paper. So the people who say a single sheet of paper can't decide my future, guys, guess what? This one single sheet of paper can very well decide your future. Yeah. So this one simple single sheet of paper goes into the hand of your employer, and it is their duty to scan the entire candidate based off of this single sheet. And again, if they miss out on you just because you did not write relevant stuff in your resume, or you missed out something on your resume, that is totally on you, not on the employer again. There are keywords that need to be noted. There are numbers that need to be properly highlighted. There are important key distinction factors, be it in your projects or be it in your work experience, that needs to be highlighted. So the employer actually knows to the depth of your knowledge or the extent of your knowledge from that one single sheet of paper. Again, resume building, I do not expect you guys to build me a perfect resume the first time I circulate the form for your resume submissions. But what I expect out of you is to approach us continuously and relentlessly. You have training coordinators in your branch, just bug them and bother them as much as you want. I'll make sure that no one is just ignoring you or leaving you unread. Every single query of yours will be addressed, but I need you guys to bother us as much as you want. Till you get your clarification, till you get your doubt answered, you need to be reaching out to us, and we will try our best to make sure that these doubts are clear, because your resume is the first point of contact that any employer will have to with you. I cannot stress that enough. Again, moving forward, we have the Alum Connect sessions. Alumni of NIT Rourkela are in very, very notable places. As I'm pretty sure all of you must have done your research before stepping into the institute. NIT Rourkela's alum base is spread out not just throughout the nation, but throughout the globe. Fair? They are in product-based software companies. They're dominant in core sectors. They are in analytics sectors. They're in VLSI and semiconductors. NIT Rourkela's alum base is everywhere. You need to understand how to make good use of this alum base, how to rally their experience into your own mind as you step into the internship and placement processes, and how you can actually use this very alumni connections to potentially land your internship or a placement somewhere down the line. So yeah, moving forward. Yeah. Again, before I move on to this slide, let me just mention one thing very off topic. So yeah, not exactly off topic, but yeah, let me just mention one thing very quickly. The alum sessions and the CV building sessions and cold emailing, cold DMing sessions are all planned out by the training committee as of now, and we will brief you as to when we'll be having them. Everything will be given to you very, very prior, and we will expect you to be present there, just because You need to have every single weapon that we provide to you in your arsenal to ensure that the opportunity you are bagging is to the best of your capability. So then again, moving forward, we have evaluation tests in place. Evaluation tests are completely online as of now. They'll be held starting in the month of December itself. I expect all of you are comfortable and cozy in your homes right now. I'm sorry if I'm just taking away some of that comfort by giving you two tests. But yeah, these two tests are mandatory. You will be marked on your domain technical knowledge, and on the response rate. All of these will be held on a online platform like Unstop. We will confirm you everything well prior to the test. And the major objective of just conducting these tests are to get a baseline. Again, if you do not perform very well in this test, do not need to worry. I simply need you to give your best so that we can gauge a baseline of your skill set. They will be spread across all the domains that we are offering. We are currently offering four major domains, that is software and IT. We are offering VLSI and semiconductor, departmental core sectors, and analytics and consulting. So whatever domains you choose, you need to make sure that you give your best in these tests, just so we can get a baseline of yours and then give you a plan as to how you can actually improve. The main objective of this test is to get a baseline and then help you improve. Fair? The domain project workshops, as you may have noticed, as the internship season rolls in, many of you will have this one question as to how can I fill up my resume with quality information that might impress an employer. As a fresher or as someone who has no industry experience, even in the form of internships. I know some of you may have a decent amount of research intern experience, but still, the majority of you do not even have a internship experience. Fair. So the only point of contact that the employer will have as to gauge your technical skill will be your academic projects. These projects, again, it is simple to build in a coming from the perspective of software, it is simple to build in a weather app or a calculator. But do you think a weather app or a calculator will compare to someone who has integrated an LLM into a portfolio website? Again, this sounds very intimidating, but trust me, it is fairly simple to execute. Right? The only reason that a lot of people do not execute it is because they are simply stepping into the world of internship and placement as of now and do not know where to start. Guess what? That is exactly why we are here. Fair? We will be conducting several domain project workshops. We'll be breaking you down into groups. Will also be individualized projects. We will give you industry standard projects, which current employers prefer, which showcase your skills that are highly relevant in today's competitive environment, and that will look great on your resume. That is the only objective of the domain project workshops. There will be review sessions. So if you copy code off of GitHub or if you copy your projects off of some senior, trust me, we'll know. All of these seniors who are providing projects to you to copy, they are the ones who are guiding us through. So do not try to pull off anything like that. Fair? I I need you to give your best and just be honest throughout the process, because that is the only way you're going to learn. And the only objective of this entire process is for you to learn. Fair. Now let's move forward. Yeah. So a major thing that we are introducing this year as part of the training committees is the recruitment simulation process. What the recruitment simulation process is you can call it as a mock hiring drive. When companies visit our campus, they usually conduct a placement drive, a recruitment drive, or a hiring drive. What these guys do is there are a set number of processes that are involved. Let's just say they start with the resume shortlisting. Then there is an online assessment that needs to be completed. Post that, there might be a few rounds of interview or group discussions. So these are different sector wise. Like I mentioned previously, this presentation will be provided to you in its entirety after the session, so you can refer to it whenever you want. There are four major domains across which you can choose your training process to go. One is software and IT and BFSI, VLSI and semiconductor, your department score, and analytics and consulting. There is a little bit of difference, a little bit of variation among in between how a drive is conducted for each of these four domains. And the recruitment simulation process aims to simulate or mock this very process and give you an idea of how this process is going to go. We believe in you being very well prepared by already having knowledge in hand as to how your recruitment process is going to go. that you will know exactly what to expect, and we will be judging you across your technical as well as your non-technical soft skills, just to ensure there are no gaps left in your field as an engineering student or as an upcoming engineering graduate. So again, these recruitment simulations will start from the month of January, and your attendance is mandatory in these. Barring in cases where you there is a relevant excuse or a relevant reason as to why you are not why you have been absent, there will be formal terms that you need to complete just to inform us that you will be absent. A simple text will not suffice. We'll give you a template of how these formalities are going to proceed. However, in case of any unauthorized absence, we are the CDC and the training committee will go down to regulatory action. This regulatory action will again be taken on a case by case basis, depending on the severity of the offense. Fair? Okay. By the way, guys, feel free to drop just anything you want to ask in the chat as well. I see a lot of roll numbers, and I'm glad that there are people who are present. But feel free to ask questions right here as well. There are more. I guess all the 25 of the training coordinators are present in the chat itself, and they'll be more than glad to help you out. Okay. So yeah, let's just go down to the sector-specific recruitment simulations. Fair. Let's just start with software IT and BFSI. Like any major software company or a product-based, be it service-based companies recruit, the round one is generally an online assessment. Well, there are a few companies where a CV screening is done first, but we need to make sure that all of you have an OA or an online assessment experience. So we'll start off with the online assessment process. Okay. This online assessment will consist of logical reasoning. Logical reasoning is very essential, in my opinion, to software development, is because DSA knowledge is fairly easy to gain. If you just practice through questions, you skim over that. But your logic building and how you approach a question is very essential. Fair? Logical reasoning. DSA is self-explanatory, data structures and algorithms. Without these, it is fair to assume that getting your foot into the door of the world of software tech is very difficult if you have no understanding of data structures and algorithms. When it comes to CS fundamentals, there will be a few topics that we'll be covering. Primarily for you guys, since you are intern trainees as of now, you will be we'll be asking you on object-oriented programming, oops, and some very minuscule part of database management systems. We do not expect you to have in-depth knowledge of database normalization and stuff. Just make sure you are strong with your OOPS concepts and the basics of your DBMS concepts. The round two will be an interview where we'll be interviewing you as your internship providers will be on the same topics. We'll be questioning on your projects. We'll be asking you questions on DSA and CS fundamentals to just ensure that you have what it takes to crack an actual interview. Moving forward to the analytics and consulting portion, that is where Jyotishman will take over for me, and he'll explain to you how this recruitment simulation will fly.
Thanks a lot, Omkar. So, hello guys. Good morning. I hope I'm audible. Omkar, can you just?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, great. So, hello guys. Good morning. I am Dushman Mohanty, a final year student from Department of Ceramic Engineering, and I am one of the chief training coordinators along with Omkar and Arshita for the session of 2024 and 25. And I will be leading the analytics and consulting domain for this session. And first of all, the baseline is we will be helping you and we will be guiding you through the entire training process with fine intellect that you want from our side, and we will be honing your skills as well, and we will make you acquainted with the real recruitment process which we will be facing in your next session. And first of all, I know you guys are of second year, so you mustn't be knowing about what is analytics and what is consulting. So let me tell you what is analytics first. Data analytics is nothing, is basically collecting data, cleaning and analyzing it to uncover different patterns and trends and insights. It employs various statistical tools. If we can know, we employ various tools such as we use EDA programming. We use visualization tools like Power BI to generate actionable results. This is the basics of analytics. We use various tools like Python, SQL, Excel, and we also use Power BI for data visualization. It is basics of analytics. I will be going forward as we will be going forward in this PPT. And now I'm telling about consulting. Consulting complements the use of data analytics by using various insights to provide strategic advice and optimize the processes that we're going to conduct in a certain company, and we will create the value for that product or that service that the company is selling to the customers. And that part of data analytics is known as consulting, that we will be consulting the customers, we will consulting the client side parts of that company so that the product or the service that the company is selling, and we will get higher revenue and higher returns from that product. Like this, we will be helping the companies by including our own skill set of analytical thinking and problem solving skills. We will be communicating with the client side and the customer side, and we will be expertising in tools such as SQL, Python, Excel, Tableau, and we will be using cloud based platforms like AWS or Azure. Omkar, I think we will be carried forward.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure. Let's move on.
departmental core.
Arshita, we have here as our entry point into the departmental core side. So yeah, we'll be moving forward with that.
Yeah, for the core part, more or less, you need to have a very good knowledge about the fundamental subjects which are taught in your courses. Apart from that, the important things which you need to have in your CV is one or two core projects, which can either be on the research side or on the industrial side. And for the recruitment simulation, which we will be having, the knowledge which you need to have is for you should be able to solve properly the logical reasoning questions, and for core fundamental questions you will we need to going through your subjects which are taught in your curriculum. And for group discussions you will need to have a good communication skill. For that you can do one thing: make a group of 8 or 10 people, or maybe 3 or 4 people among your friends, and you can have GDs once in a while among yourself, pick up a topic and go for the GD. Then for the interview part, what I said earlier was that you will be needing a few internships. One or two is more than enough for core, and a good knowledge of fundamental subjects is important. With this, I would like to pass it to Omkar, who will be taking forward.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Arshita and Jyotisman for that. So let's just dive for the last and final sector that we have here, VLSI and semiconductor. Let me make just let me put one thing out in the chat before I move forward with that. VLSI and semiconductor is a field right now, which is the definition of a booming field. Fair. It's a field that has seen a skyrocket in the number of companies who are coming in to offer internships and placement. It is a field that has seen massive growths in the packages that these companies are offering, and it is a field that has seen a massive switchover in terms of people actually taking interest into this field. Fair. Again, this is somewhere related to your core departments. If you are in electronics and communication or electronics and instrumentation, but that this is a domain that is not restricted to only electronics branches. Fair. There are a good number of electrical students who go into this. There are computer science and engineering students who choose the VLSI and semiconductor industry as well. Fair. So just walking you down the recruitment simulation process, we'll be starting out with an online assessment. Let me give you an example of how important logical reasoning and the two mentioned topics of digital and analog electronics are here. A major recruiter, I'm not name dropping in any companies as of now, just because I do not want to intimidate any of you guys. There are typically three sections in the hiring of VLSI and semiconductor companies. First of them is inevitably logical reasoning. Inevitably logical reasoning. Any major recruiter of this domain most likely will have a logical reasoning section. The second section will probably be one of the two sections, digital and analog electronics, or maybe both, depending on what role you are filling for. The third section is not always present, but whenever it is most likely the C programming section. It is a domain that requires nuance. It requires knowledge of a decent amount of computer science fundamentals in the form of C programming. It requires you to have a decent grab on circuit theory, on electronics, as well as demanding a good amount of logical reasoning and understanding as well. Before I move forward, there is a question in the chat, so let me just quickly address those on what topics the GD is conducted generally. So, Soumya Manti, what the topics the GD is conducted generally is a broad question. We will generally give you topics that are relevant to current day and age. Let me give you an example as to how the last training committee functioned. They would give us topics on how artificial intelligence is going to impact the future, how UPI has impacted the scenario of India, and is it actually better in from a security perspective, right? How it flew last year was they gave our seniors gave us the topics, and we were given around 2 to 5 minutes to research on that, and then the group discussion proceeded with a moderator right in place. I hope that answered the question. Okay, there is yet another question. Nice. AI ML comes under which domain, software or analytics? AI and ML can come under both of these domains if you practice, if you actually go into the depth of these. I am personally an AI developer and I am in the domain of software. Jyotishman here has a very good understanding of machine learning and he has applied those
Yes.
into the domain of software analytics as well.
AI and
Fair.
ML, it's a
What
sweet
is
spot between software analytics, as I can say,
yes?
because we can use machine learning to create software, we can use machine learning to interpret data and make factual decisions based on it. So, analytics, it comes under analytics and the part of data cleaning, data sorting, and data visualization part. And machine learning can also be used in software sector to create software and for coding also. So, it's a sweet spot. Okay, continue, Omkar.
Yes. So, like Jitishman said, yes, it is. Yeah, it is something that if you go into the depth, it can be included under both fields. But as of now, if you are just headfirst diving into the domain of machine learning, I will suggest you take software hand in hand because the fundamentals of DSA, which a lot of ML developers and AI developers ignore, can actually help you make great AI software. And I will suggest you just start exploring both of these fields, however, a little heavier on the software side. Okay, we'll take one last question before we finish this, and then I'll come back to your questions. Okay. What are the average CGPA cutoff for core and analytics, internships, and final placement? Okay. This is a question that has no solid answer. It is completely dependent on the company or the organization that is coming into hire. Some organizations have hard limits as to what CGPA cutoffs they allow. And some organizations, while they will allow you to sit for placements, they will have a resume or a CGPA shortlisting round where they simply remove you. Again, what is a good CGPA as to let you to sit in most, if not all, of the companies? I will say have a CGPA as high as you can. There are companies who have put in a CGPA cutoff of 8.5 for the placement season this year. I personally, the company that I interned for, put me at a cutoff of 8 to just be eligible to sit for the online assessment. Fair. So keep a CGPA of as high as you can. But to give you a basic bare line, any CGPA above 7.5 should allow you to sit for at least 80 to 90% of the companies. But please do not miss out on the remaining 10%. That those could have been the opportunities that you could have backed. Okay, we'll come back to the questions later. Let me just wrap up the VLSI and semiconductor sector quickly. So yeah. So we'll be having logical reasoning, your electronics portion, digital and analog, network theory, STA or the static timing analysis. Computer organization and architecture is something that is not relevant for you guys. Okay, this is something that will majorly be focusing for the FTEs or the placement season. The rest of the stuff, logical reasoning, digital electronics, analog electronics, network theory, and static timing analysis. All of these 5 topics are extremely important for you. These will be there in your evaluation tests, and these will be there in the online assessment rounds for your mock simulations as well. C programming, again, I believe you had a lab in your first year. That is not sufficient. I'll just put it out there. That is not sufficient to answer the questions that these companies are answering as of now. Just go online. We'll also be sharing with you a resource pool where you can refer to get in a good understanding of what kind of questions are being asked and how you can prepare. Okay. Following this, we'll directly have an interview round where we ask you questions on your technical domain and also analyze your soft skills. Fair. So that is the 4 major pillars of how the recruitment simulation process is going to fly. Let's move forward now. Yeah. Alumni sessions. I believe we talked about these already. I do not intend to waste your time any further. Let's move forward. Domain project workshops, again, is something that I've explained in detail. Okay, this is something that you should look at. Can we go to the sample CV, please? Okay. So you guys are not familiar with last year's CV format, but this year's CV format is fairly different from what we were using previously. This is a column only format that is an industry standard to some point. This is a sample CV template. You do not need to take screenshots or do not need to be bothered as to how I can recreate the CV exactly word for word. Do not do that. We will give you a complete template and we will guide you through how you can actually edit that template to make your resume. The whole point of including this slide is to give you an idea of what your resume is going to look like. Fair. We are right here. Please observe that there is extreme amount of emphasis that is placed on the experience section and the project section. Fair. That is taking up more than 60% of the resume right here. Fair. This is something that I want reflected in each of your resume as well. It's great that you are in extracurricular activities, but guess what? You're in a technical college, and if you want a technical job or a technical internship, your extracurricular activities may help you, but they won't help you as much as your experience or your projects will. Fair. And I need that reflected in your resumes. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, evaluation test, software IT and BFSI. Okay, this is the actual hiring process of how this flies. This is not something not relevant to the recruitment simulations that we'll be performing, but what actual companies look for. Uh, this is potentially one of the most important slides for any guy who's trying to step into this domain. Just look at the prerequisites that are essential. Do not get intimidated by these. I know this may look like a lot, once on first glance, but not you don't. The best part is you do not need to do anything and everything. Fair. Communication skills, brother, just talk to people. Please talk to people decently. Fair. Interact with people. Work on your speaking skills a bit, and I think you're good to go. CS fundamentals, like I mentioned. Just give me a second. I got. Oh yeah, thank you, moderators. You are faster than even I can read a than I can even read a comment. Great. Yeah, CS fundamentals, like I mentioned before, for you guys, object-oriented programming, OOPS, and the fundamentals of DBMS are going to be very essential. The rest of these, if you have the time, I would highly recommend that you start studying them right now. However, if you can't, don't worry. These questions will not be as heavy on your evaluation tests or on the OAs of your recruitment simulation or even in your mock interview processes. I don't think these will be very heavy even in your actual interview processes for internships. But let me, as the internship season deepens into let's just say, into your sixth semester, during that time, your DBMS skills should have been honed very much. You should have a good understanding of SQL and OOPS. So these three topics are something that I need good understanding from you guys of on OOPS, DBMS, and SQL. Fair. Operating system and computer networks. If time permits, please go ahead and explore that. But if not, please do not worry about that. Let's move on to data structures and algorithms. Do not solve each and every sheet. I'm saying that again. Do not solve each and every sheet. I know that you guys understand what your level of experience in this domain is. If there is someone who is just say doing competitive programming since the beginning of first year, I assume that you will have a good understanding of data structures and algorithms already. You can directly start by solving Striver sheet or solving questions on CSES problem set. However, if there is someone who is stepping into this domain of DSA, then you can go in for Love Bubber sheet or a GFG sprint, which gives you a fairly more number of questions on the easier side, on the basic side, so that you can just catch up, you build confidence, and then solve the medium and harder questions. Fair? Technical projects are the bread and butter of any candidate who does not have experience in the field of software. Fair. We will be giving you domain projects, more than 30 problem statements curated in a single place. We will be allotting you into groups. But if you want to build these projects outside of the group as well, let us know. We'll give you more problem statements. The problem statements that we have curated this year are coming from venture capital funded companies and YC inducted companies. Venture capital VC and Y Combinator, YC, are two organizations that actually fund and back startups. Fair. So when you actually go down into how VCs and YCs function, their hiring is very much project based. Fair. They give you a task, and based off of that task, they hire you. So we have contacted those organizations who hire predominantly through tasks and projects and taken their suggestions while in giving you the domain projects necessary. So rest assured that these are projects that are very relevant to the current market scenario that we are providing to you. Fair? Okay. Puzzles and aptitude. I hope that the logical reasoning portion will hone you enough to address puzzles and aptitude questions to a good degree. Still, if you think that that is a domain where you lack, the resources have been listed in this prerequisites sheet as well. And you can also go on to solve some NTSC question papers of the previous years as well. Let's move forward. Okay, this is the recruitment process. You can just read through this when the document is provided to you. I don't see the point in taking any more time here. Let's move forward. Okay, here are some major recruiters that you can actually look forward to. MathWorks. Yes, there have been multiple people who were taken in by Google this year, both in internship as well as placements. So that could be you someday if you play your cards right. And trust me, the entire training committee along with me is rooting for you. Best of luck, guys. That will be it from my side. And let's move forward to the analytics domain that Jyotishman will walk you through. Just prior to that, however, let's just take some time to address a few more questions in chat. Okay. I'll just take questions randomly. What to include in experience? Yeah. So Amrutanshu, that is something that we'll address to you in specific uh, while we take up a CV building or a resume building session that is scheduled for next week. We'll let you know about the timings and yeah, please be just as enthusiastic in its participation as you were here. And I think you'll be able to curate a great resume. Take it. Okay, can we dive into both analytics and software domains if you're into machine learning? Yes, Shubha Tyutirat. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but yeah, you can definitely dive into both analytics and software domains. But to say that you can dive into both domains with just machine learning is wrong. Machine learning is a part that can be explored in both of these domains, but both of these domains are unique in their own right, and they require other prerequisites and understanding of other topics than just machine learning. Again, we'll give you the resource pool that you can refer to so that you get a deeper understanding of what I'm talking about. We'll take two more questions before we move forward. Can a student opt for both core and software during training sessions? Yes, we will give you the training forms. You will have the choice to opt for two preferences. Fair. Core and software is a unique combination indeed. It is something that I won't say that I have never seen. I have seen a couple of cases, but it is a very unique combination. So best of luck, Kumar. It is a tough combination, and I hope you carry forward with it. Yeah. For core placement and internship, like I'm in biotech, is there a need for coding knowledge, or can I focus on both core and software sector? Again, you can focus on both core and software sector. I'm not very familiar with the biotechnological department, but you have your training coordinators in place. I'm pretty sure they would have formed the training groups as of now. Just reach out to them for any advice, and I'm pretty sure they'll oblige. Fair. Uh, how are we going to be tested in a technical round when we are sitting for core chemical placements? I think this is something that Arshita can answer much better than me because she is in chemical. So yeah, Arshita, please.
So could you just highlight the question once, Jayesh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the core technical round, more or less, you will be having firstly the aptitude part for which you can practice from few of the resources which we will be giving you. There is one of the site known as IndiaBix from where you can just practice few of the aptitude part. And for the core part, you will be needing knowledge on core, especially topics like heat transfer, mass transfer, and thermodynamics, fluids as well. If you have a good hold on these four subjects, then more or less you are good to go for the internships and placement seasons.
Yeah. So Saujanya, I hope that answers your question. Again, I hope that answers your question. So yeah, one last question before we move on with the analytics and consulting sector. How should we classify our projects, whether it is up to the mark or not? Moreover, what kind of projects can be created in core? Okay, what kind of projects can be created in core? That is something, again, I'll pass on to Arshita to answer. But before we go there, how can we classify whether our project is up to the mark or not? There are a couple of methods. Firstly, uh, coming from a software perspective, trust me, it will come to your gut if this project is up to the mark, if it is good or not. And secondly, the training committee is always here. You can come to us, refer us, ask us for a review, and we'll give you pointers and feedback as to where you can improve. And And if you continuously implement this feedback loop, I can guarantee you that your projects will be far, far better than most of the candidates who are not taking feedback from someone who has already gone through the same process. Fair? So do not worry about building great projects right off the get-go. What I'll suggest is start building. Your projects may not be the best right from the start, but trust me, you'll learn as you go and you'll build projects that are great. Fair? And Arshita, can you just brief them over what kind of projects they can build in core?
Yeah, so Priyal, for the core, more or less, your projects are divided into two categories. One would be research, where you go into an institute and you perform a research project, and usually people may or may not write a research paper on that. And there is another project which you can do in an industrial level, where you go to an industrial visit is done, and there you basically take up, for example, I did a project on cooling towers, where you will have to calculate the efficiency and how can you improve the efficiency of a cooling tower. So you will take up a unit in an industry, and there you would have to work on to improve the working of that unit. So these are few of the examples on which you can do a project on in industries. Mostly if you have to do a project on the core, and that depends on what the company needs. For example, if you I would give an example of a few companies like ITC. If I say, they need research kind of projects, whereas ExxonMobil, they would lean more on the industrial kind of projects. But the best kind of projects which I would suggest is that you make something innovative, that is usually done more or less by the clubs which our institute is having. So I would suggest that you go and join some of them, where they do some projects on, um, for example, I would say on making cars, or on those lines where your innovative idea comes into play. That is where it will be more effective, and you will be able to explain it to the interviewer. So that is where your uniqueness comes into play.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that, Arshita. I think Priyal, that should answer your question more or less. We'll take one last question, and I'm sorry, Jyotishman, to keep you waiting for so long.
No
The
issues,
other
no
questions,
issues.
the training coordinators, please answer them in chat. Yeah, sure. Thank you. The training coordinators, please answer the rest of the questions in chat. We'll take just one last question. Okay. Where to get? Okay. How are we going to be tested in technical round? Okay, I think that was answered. Okay, fair. Where to get project for analytics section? Okay. This is actually a two-part answer. Firstly, yes, we will give you a basic set of problem statements that you not basic that is a good set of problem statements that are curated by VC and YC companies. You can build projects right off of those, and you'll have a very good project at the end of the day. And secondly, just this is not something where I'm going specific. This is general advice for the entire batch. Uh, Start looking for problem statements on your own as well. As someone who is trying to build projects, drop the mentality that you will be given problem statements and then you will have to build them. Start adopting the point of view that it is probably you who has to find problem statements that excite you, and then you start building these. That being said, we will provide you a list of problem statements as was provided to us by our seniors. This is simply a pointer. This will guide you into what industry standards are, what the current market expects, and what kind of projects look good on your resume. However, if you find a problem statement that is niche and has not been addressed, and you think that this will make a great project, please go for it. A unique project will beat a standard project any day. If you build a great unique project where you can explain everything line by line, trust me, that creates an impression like no other. Fair? I think that answers your question. Training coordinators, please keep on answering the remainder of the questions in the chat. And with that, we let's just move on to the analytics and consulting sector. Jyotishman, please.
Thank you, Omkar. And for analytics and consulting sector, I would like to tell first what would be your job if you are placed in an analytics company, what job you will be doing. For that, first of all, I would like to tell an example. For example, if you are placed, so let's suppose in an e-commerce website, we have major e-commerce websites, and let's suppose you are placed there. So, if you are buying something from an e-commerce website, you will be giving their sign-in data. You will be giving your name, your phone number, your address, your shipping address, your email ID. So the company acquires all your data, and from all over India, there will be numerous people who will be ordering their orders, and they will be having around crores of data in their databases. A person who is placed in analytics sector, the job of the person is to sort the data and to find a trend that what this person is purchasing from our e-commerce website from the last month or the last year. And if you can know, like that, the person will be giving their managers or the CEOs of the companies who are handling the e-commerce website the data that at which place for the location, if I will giving the person, so at which place the more amount of people are buying this type of product, and at which place the sales of the product is minimal or low. And like that, this helps in strategic planning of selling a product or a service. Like this is the basic job of a person who will be working in analytics sector. For a person working in consulting sector, the job of a consultant is to consult the customer side and the client side of both the companies which will be handling the service manufacturing or the product manufacturer, and the customers that they are going to buy the product. So that person becomes the mediator between these two parties, and that person will sell the product and try to sell it at such an advanced level that the product where there is a minimal amount of sales in that location will receive high amount of product, and like that the companies which is selling the product will revenue faster and in a high rate. So, for the prerequisites on this sector, there is puzzles and aptitude. You would be requiring to have a great amount of analytical skills. Analytical skills are major in this sector. For that, you will be evaluated in the basis of first round of your recruitment simulation will be based on three sections, that will be quant, LRDI, and VRC. LRDI is logical reasoning, DI is data interpretation, VRC is verbal ability and reading comprehension. These three sections will be including quant, which will be of number theory, arithmetic algebra. Logical reasoning interpretation will be based on various types of graphs such as line graphs, plot graphs, and questions on tables of data that will be given to you. VARC is the section which will be testing your English skills, English speaking, writing skills, in which reading comprehension you will be given questions on reading comprehension and basic grammar errors. That's all for the first round of the recruitment simulation for analytics. The second round of analytics will be on case study round. Case study round. I would request Jayesh to can you go back one page? Yeah, thank you, Jayesh. So the second round of your recruitment simulation of analytics sector will be the case study round. And I you are in second year, so you won't be knowing what is a case study. So case study is basically you will be giving a problem statement, such as if I'm giving an example, a new car company is going to enter into Indian markets. So, what a person who is placed in analytics and consulting role, the job of the person is to study the market and the Indian trends of how cars, a new company which is an American or an German company which entering a market in India, which particular cities the company can target where it can incur the first sales at a higher level, that like you can give the solution to the company. That is a part that is a job of an analytics consultant who will be placed in the company, and likewise he will be giving the solutions to the company. This is one of the type of case study. Another type of case study will be the business case study, which will be given to you, in which you will be given various structured data sheets and workbooks will be given to you, and your job will be to sort out the data, the problems that will be give you. You have to give the solution for it, and your job is to sort out the data in an trend manner, in a manner in which it is legible for us, and you have to solve the problem that will be given to you in the next sem onwards. And likewise, as we move forward, as we proceed, we will get into know more about it. The prerequisites for this sector is to learn Python. Python is a necessity if you're going in the analytics sector. You have to learn basically four data frames, four libraries of Python, which are NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. These four libraries are very useful in doing EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. And I am saying that you all should have minimum one project on EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. If you'll go on Google and press and you search about exploratory data analysis, you will get to know more. Basically, it is nothing but you will be given data sets and you have to find meaningful answers, meaningful solutions using Python to the problems given in the dataset. The other tools which we'll be using in analytics field is SQL. SQL is a DBMS tool, and it is highly efficient and it is highly beneficial for an person who is going into analytics field to sort out data which is not big, but it is very much important when there are a large amount of data in various tables, and these tables are linked by a primary key or a foreign key. So in this type of data, SQL is highly useful. MS Excel, advanced MS Excel is the necessary. And yes, BI tools. BI tools are the business intelligence tools, in which there are two major BI tools, which are business tools, which are Power BI, given by Microsoft, and there is Tableau, which is a business intelligence tool. You need to learn how to use these tools and how to use the dashboard efficiently so that you can visualize the data that you have sorted and cleaned and have the solution during your Python or SQL extrapolation. Okay, so now going forward for machine learning. Machine learning is yet another domain in analytics sector. It is advanced analytics, if I can say. Machine learning, at most, who are going bare minimums, that you should learn the basics of machine learning. At least, if not the unstructured part, you should learn the structured part of machine learning, as most of the companies who are coming for placement and as well as intern sessions, they are asking questions on the basics of ML, such as what is linear regression, what is clustering, and they are asking the basic maths. You everyone can write the code and what is linear regression, they can write the code of linear regression, but a few can tell the maths behind the machine learning model. So I would request, when you are learning machine learning, you learn the mathematical part of the machine learning, of all the structured models that you have learned. You should be handy with all the mathematical formulas that it is present in the part of the structured learning. So these are all the prerequisites that you will be needing. Yes, I miss guesstimates part. Guesstimates is yet another important factor in analytics sector. It will be asked in your interviews, and as we move forward, I will be telling you more about guesstimates. Next, Jace, we can do next. Yes. So the first round will be the online assessment, as I said, MCQ quantitative aptitude questions on aptitude, LRDI, VRC, and there will be two coding questions based on SQL and Python. And we will be having two rounds of one round is technical interview and another round is the basic HR interview. In technical interview, we will be having an in-depth discussion on a technical knowledge which you have mentioned in your CVs, which you have mentioned in your project. We will be having discussion on the various puzzles that we will be telling you to prepare, puzzles and guesstimates, and we will be having the case study round. The HR interview will consist of basically the managerial and behavioral questions and the basic HR questions, which we will be preparing you in the next semester. Okay, we can go forward, Jash. So these are the major recruiters who recruit from the analytics and consulting domain: PhonePe, Fractal, Deloitte, PwC. As you can see, all the big names are the major recruiters which you know in your day-to-day lives come to our NIT campus, and they offer both internship and placement offers. Okay, so we can move forward. Okay, I would like to request you can take some questions if we have time.
Yeah, sure. We can definitely take some questions. So
Yeah.
the training coordinators have been working very tirelessly. Okay, yeah. So here's a
Okay,
question. I
where to
think Jyotisman,
get
this is
the
relevant for you.
yes, where to get the project for analytics section? If you're in a beginner level, I would request you go through YouTube. There are two major YouTube channels. One is Rishabh Mishra, and another one is Krish Naik, and yes, another one is CampusX. These three YouTube channels are the go-to place for a beginner, in a person who's just starting to learn analytics, because these places have great projects to start with. For all the sectors for such as EDA, Expert Data Analyst, you have project in Rishabh Mishra's account, and we will be having projects on Power BI and Tableau on Campus X. So it is the basic. If you're starting right now, then that will be a great help for you. But if you're an intermediate in the analytics part, I would request you to create an account in Kaggle. There are various competitions and there are various hackathons organized in Kaggle in which you can take part, and that Kaggle projects, they give you the freedom, whichever software you want to use for data analytics part. You can go forward, take the problem statement from Kaggle, analyze the data which is given to you, and present in Kaggle itself. That you can also use. You can mention in your CV. You can mention that in your interview process also. And the best part for an analytics question, analytics sector, for best part of project will be do your own project. I would request everyone to do your own project, never to copy around the projects that are available in the internet. Learn EDA, learn data science, learn machine learning, and do the project and create your own problem statements and try to solve them. Okay, so we can go forward to next question. Okay, Saswat is asking, I am venturing into IoT sector. I want to know what are the prerequisites that are required for same being from a CS branch. I think Omkar can answer this.
Yeah. While IoT sector is something that none of the three of us have worked with very personally, I will still say a lot of the fundamentals of the VLSI do apply. Again, please approach your respective training coordinators. They'll link you up with people who have worked well in this domain, and they will help you find the answer to your queries.
Okay,
Okay.
we can go for.
So I think we should move forward to the core domain right now. We maybe will
Yeah,
address some
sure.
questions. We are approaching the 1 hour time limit. So Arshita, take it away.
So for the core, there are a few of the sectors into which firstly core is divided into. We would not go into this much detail. We would directly dive into the prerequisites which are necessary to be to be placed in a core company. So for that, you would need to have a very strong resume. For a strong resume, it means you will need to have good CGPA, and you will also need to have good projects and internships. As I have mentioned it earlier, what are the internships that you are required that are required to be present in your resume? I would suggest you guys to who are into the core domain to either have very strong skills on softwares like Aspen or MATLAB, or you would also, and you can also have a good um, research side of yours. For example, you could join few clubs. In these clubs, people actually make projects, make working models out of the basic fundamental subjects which you go through day to day, which you go through in your in your curriculum. So if you apply those knowledge and make a working model out of it, your basics are much more clearer and you can explain it to the interviewer, and that is what the interviewer wants to hear from you. And apart from that, aptitude practice is a must. If you have to clear your OTs, that is like a must you should be doing, since the internship season is going to start for you guys. Apart from that, as I mentioned, softwares you can use Aspen, MATLAB, and for mechanical people, I think there are a few softwares like um, they usually teach like the SolidWorks. They usually teach it in their curriculum only. That is not much familiar to me. That will be better suggested to you by your training coordinators. And yeah, understanding of core knowledge and core subjects and communication skill is a must for you guys. A few of the PSUs, like I can give an example of BPCL. uh, it came for a management role, and in that role, it although it tested your core knowledge, but the communication skills and the personality which you show it to the interviewer was much more essential than your core knowledge. So having a CGPA of above 7.5 is fine, but if you want to get into good companies, then have a CGPA above 8, which is safe, but 8.5 is too good for you guys. So that is how I would like to divide the CGPA criteria for getting into core companies. And yeah, so for the recruitment process, which we will be having like a recruitment simulation process, firstly we would go through resume shortlisting, which is more or less depending upon your CGPA for the core companies. Online assessment test, which would include your aptitude as well as your course fundamental questions on it. And there are a few sites from which we will be linking those sites as well as the test papers in your resource pool. From there you could access those and you can practice the test papers. So apart from that, we'll be having group discussions, then technical interview and final HR interview. People might think that HR interview is something which is very easy, and it is if we just focus on the core part, like if we just focus on the subjects and get a good CGPA, that is enough for cracking into the core company. So I would tell you guys that you are wrong in this, because in the HR interview, people might want to look how you manage stuffs, how you can manage a team, and that is where it is important for you guys to have some or the other role. Like you can take part in fests where you go into some management kind of role and not only focus on your core subjects and delve into your studies. CGPA, maintain a good CGPA and look into this as well, because if you don't have a good communication skill, or you don't have any extracurricular activities which you will be able to showcase to the interviewer, then that might set you a bit negative impact on the interview. Yeah, so these are few of the major recruiters which do come and visit our campus every year. There's Exxon and there's JSW, there's Aditya Birla, this is HUL, and few of the PSUs which I would like to introduce you to is BPCL, HPCL. They do visit us. Yeah, with this we would go into the next domain. If there's a few of the questions which you would like us to answer, we could go for one or two questions.
Yeah, please. Moderators, if you can pin a couple of questions which haven't been answered, that would be great. Yeah. Arshad, I believe this one is for you.
Do vocational training in power plants or steel itself? Yeah, it does. It does. It actually helps you to a great extent. But do not only trust for do not only go for vocational training. You should also be looking at projects which set you apart from the crowd. That is where your creativity comes in. So I would suggest you that as well. Is it helpful? Can we mention? Yeah, for mechanical engineering, it is. You can mention it in your CVs. Like it, you are in your second year. You could go for a vocational training in your second year summers as well. Yeah, this question will be answered better by the mechanical TCs. You could just connect with them and they'll let you know about this.
Yeah, fair. I think this is something I should take over. Yeah. Can you explain the importance of LinkedIn in internships? Also, can you explain how we can utilize it as well as we can? Yeah, fair. So coming on to on-campus opportunities, your LinkedIn will not be that helpful to you. Fair. Because companies visit on campus and they place everyone on an equal scale. There are no edges to be had there unless you are great with your technical skill. So yeah, in case of off-campus opportunities, however, LinkedIn connections and a good LinkedIn network can become very significant. Let me give you an example. There have been multiple companies where I have applied to off-campus where I would not have even gotten a reply had I not taken a good referral. Referrals are very important, especially in the domain of software where the competition is so saturated. Fair. What a referral guarantees you is at least your resume, at least your profile will be viewed. A referral is not an entry point. Ki, yeah, you got a referral, so you're definitely coming in. No, it's simply a guarantee that your profile will be viewed. Because take into consideration the perspective of company who has gotten in more than 4,000 applications. Fair. I'm giving you the example of Zomato's off-campus GenAI hiring here. They got in over 4,000 applications. what are the odds that they will actually go down and screen every single resume? While they may take the time to screen every single one of these, and I think Zomato actually does, not every company will. Fair. They have to close their opening in, let's just say, 4 or 5 days. They do not have that amount of resources or manpower to view every single of one of these resumes and critique them on an individual basis. What they'll do is, firstly, they'll screen over the resumes that have been referred by a good position. Once they find someone who fits their criteria, they might as well close the position and not even look at the rest. Fair. This is where your LinkedIn really comes in. Once you have a good LinkedIn network, you can approach this network, ask them for referrals, ask them for openings. And that is how you can actually leverage that said network into bagging an internship opportunity or even a placement opportunity. So, Shreyash, I think that answers your question. Supply chain management comes majorly under which core? Okay, that is something I believe Arpita is a far more qualified candidate to answer. So, yeah. Okay, I think there are some technical issues on that end. Arpita, please feel free to address this question to your training coordinator. They will happily oblige to answer you. Fair? Okay, let's move on to the VLSI and semiconductor unit right now. This is the final stretch of the presentation. Thank you, everyone, to all of the 300 plus people who chose to stick around. Fair? Let's move on to the actual VLSI debriefing, the debriefing of this sector. Can we move forward, please? Sorry, can we move forward, please? Yeah, sure. So this is nothing new. Everything that I've walked you through in detail in the section where I was highlighting your recruitment simulation process. You might see a couple of things that are newly added, like the digital design puzzles. This is again a very niche part that if you want to fill each and every gap in your resume, you just go for these digital design puzzles. You can find these readily online and do not worry much about these. Your primary focus should be on having strong projects, should be on your fundamentals of digital and analog electronics, network and circuit theory. That's it for an intern season. This along with C programming. These should be your primary points of concern. Static timing analysis, computer organization and architecture. Static timing analysis is still somewhat necessary. Computer organization and architecture you can safely drop for the purpose of an internship. Everything else that is listed in this prerequisites list, I expect you to have a good command over. Fair? Okay. Again, this document will be provided to you in its entirety. Feel free to refer to it anytime you please. Okay. Let's move forward. Yeah. The recruitment process is somewhat of a mishmash between the core and the software domain, as you may have noticed. There is a resume shortlisting involved in some companies that have visited this year, like ST Microelectronics and such. However, there are many companies that directly allow you to go for an online assessment post registration itself with no resume shortlisting in between. However, to give you a more generalized outlook, we have just included the process of resume shortlisting as well. There's a resume shortlist. There's an online test, which will be very similar to the recruitment simulation and the evaluation test that we'll be conducting. So I expect each and every one of you to attend those tests because that is what will give you an idea of what the actual recruitment process is going to be. There's a technical interview, and there could be an HR interview, or the technical and an HR interview could be clubbed together in a techno plus HR interview. Fair? That being said, everything that was listed prior to this as prerequisites is something I need you to focus on. That's it. Can we move forward? I believe that is the crux of it, and there should be some major recruiters on the next slide. Yeah. So yeah, this is the thing that I was mentioning about. This, if there is one sector which you ask me which one has boomed, I would say VLSI and semiconductor. Companies like Texas Instrument, Qualcomm, Nvidia, be it in terms of the package offered to the selected candidates, be it in terms of the benefits that is offered, and be it in terms of the interest that has graduated towards these companies, it is unparalleled. Ola Electric is a company which is actually pioneering the development of electric vehicles in India. And while it may not be the most profitable organization right now, it is the pioneer of EVs in India. Companies like that have chosen to visit our campus this year, and I believe they will choose to do so in the future as well. Companies like Micron, companies like AMD, with such organizations choosing to visit our campus, people who are actually interested in VLSI and semiconductor industry, trust me, you are going to have a ton of opportunities. The placement cell is working tirelessly for this. and they have brought in you so many opportunities and proven the same. All the prerequisites that were mentioned, I need you to work on it and do attend the evaluation test. This is an industry in specific where practice is very, very essential. I've seen people fumble their online test. I've seen people who are great in the technical domain fumble their online test just because they did not have good practice on logical reasoning, just because they do not know programming very well. And trust me, while it may sound disheartening, but the truth is they could have done better on those fields. Yeah. Let's not hold on to excuses right of as of now. Let's just work on every prerequisite that is provided to us and then see where the road takes us. Can we move forward, please? Okay, that being the conclusion of the presentation, I'll just walk you through what our expectations are of you. Yes, thank you for sticking around 1 hour, 1.5 hours. I know we went overboard on the time and started late. I really apologize for that. But yeah, here are our two basic expectations from you guys. Firstly, I expect you to complete each and every prerequisite that is provided to you via this document. If you face any trouble, contact your training coordinators, contact the chief coordinators, and we are here to help you out. Fair? That again, I remind you, this is our job and we are going to help you out. We will not hesitate. Fair? Secondly, I need each and every one of you to be present in every evaluation test and every recruitment simulation that is brought on up to you. We will take regulatory actions if you choose to be an offender in this case. And trust me, no one wants that. I do not want to strip you of any opportunities by taking regulatory action. That is the exact opposite of what I want to do. Let's just brief
Uh,
you upon the training policy
uh,
that we are going to adopt this year. Yes, Arshita, please.
so maybe we should show them the rules and regulations which they need to follow. That would be better, right?
Yes, yes, please,
Yeah.
please. Yes, that would
Yeah.
be great. Yeah. So we'll just brief you over the regulatory policies and the training policy that we are going to be adopting this year. And be very sure that the training policy is going to be enforced in its entirety with the due diligence of the training coordinators and the CDC. Please comply to these regulations that have been provided. We do not wish to impose regulatory action on any one of you. That is quite the opposite of what we want. We want every single one of you to excel in the fields that you're choosing, and we are here to help you through that. Please don't force our hand. Please don't just let the situation come up to a position where we are forced to impose regulatory action on you. Great. Yeah, let's just share in the training policy and brief the students about that quickly. Till
I would
then, let's.
request training coordinators to answer the questions in the chat box.
Yeah, there have been a quite flood of
There are a
questions.
lot of questions.
Jayesh, could you put
Yeah,
the training policy on stage? It's not happening from my side. Yeah.
yeah,
Not this.
yeah, yeah. Great. Could we just zoom in on the document, please, if that's possible? Fair, fair. That is totally fair. No worries. The recruitment simulation process, as we have told to you in detail, has been documented in this training policy documentation. We'll again send this for your reference as well. Fair. So let's just move forward. This is it's stuff that has been very repetitive, and I do not wish to take your time with it. Again, the recruitment simulation processes have been detailed. Let's move forward to the general instructions. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, there is a column that is specifically dedicated for regulatory action for unauthorized access. I expect you to see this in detail. Yes, this lists the any malpractice during tests and interviews will be viewed seriously. A student at any point violating code of conduct, again, the code of conduct has been detailed forward, may be debarred from the training process and will face further consequences. A student who registers for the training process but does not turn up, this is one of the most serious offenses that I will take into consideration. This happens to be possibly one of the most, probably the most serious offense as enlisted by the training committee. We will exempt you from the mock training process and potentially from actual recruitment processes as well. Why that is? There are organizations who visit our campus who take up internship and placement drives, and these organizations then complain about lackluster talent pools. What this does is you being under prepped has just caused the entire college. Do you understand my point? You just because you were under prepped and you made it through the OT, you went in front of the interviewer and you underperformed like crazy. This gives a bad impression not just about you, but the entire college as a whole. This could be grounds for that very same recruiter not visiting next year. And sorry, just because you chose to ignore all of our advice, just because you chose to not prepare yourself, you're not going to cost the college because of that. We will make sure you do not contribute to your lackluster talent pool. You have to be held to a standard. You have to show me that you're trying. At the very least, you are trying. If you're not great at what you're doing, fair. We are here to help you with that. But if you're not great with what you're doing and you're not even willing to improve, I'm sorry, that is something that we cannot allow anymore. It has cost us a fair amount of opportunities as of now, and it will not be tolerated anymore. Great. Again, that is something I do not want happening. Please do not force our hand into it. Each and every one of you is going to be registered for the training process, and I expect you to attend the evaluation test, and I expect you to win the recruitment simulation. And do not think that I cannot track these attendance. All of this is going to be on non-stop. Your attendance is being tracked. Fair? Great. Let's move on to the attendance and performance policy. I believe Arshita and Jyotishman, you can just take over and document these processes in more detail.
Yeah. So for the attendance part, we will be, as we said it earlier, we will be tracking each and every, especially the evaluatory sessions attendance. We will be tracking that with you guys, and if by we will be excusing you for one or two sessions with genuine excuses. But if that continues for long, then we will be forced to take strict actions against you guys. And for that, by strict actions, we mean we will not be allowing you to sit for further training processes and for further recruitment processes as well. And if you want these to happen with you guys, then you might continue doing that. This time we have been taking strict actions against those who will be not attending the important sessions which are taken by us. All students who were not shortlisted, yeah, we will be having two recruitment simulations. For you guys, we will be having one, so that's not a point which we need to discuss with you guys. And further, we will be having one recruitment simulation with you guys, and it is necessary for each and every one to attend that recruitment simulation. Candidates who were not shortlisted during the recruitment simulation are also required to attend the, yeah, that is not necessary. Attendance in TC. Yeah, we will be holding TC booster sessions, which will include workshops, which will help in the development of your CVs. We will be providing you projects, and we will be helping you guys to develop those projects. And that is where it will help to you guys only to get a better CV score at the end. And these sessions are mandatory for you guys. If you don't attend these sessions, then you will have to face repercussions. Yeah, for the code of conduct, please, Jyotishman, you can go ahead.
Yes, basic code of conduct for every student who have registered in the training process. It is a responsibility of every student opting for the training process to ensure and exhibit appropriate behavior throughout the process to prevent any strict exemptions against them. It's the responsibility of every student that the person have to be in their utmost professional behavior while talking with their own peers as well as the training coordinators and the chief coordinators of the training committee. You have to show you cannot be unprofessional and informal during the conversation with either any of the training coordinators or the chief coordinators. You have to respect their time, and also you cannot be always bugging to them at all odd hours from late night 12 to morning 4 or morning 6. We are ready to give all the support you need at all the times, but it becomes really hectic if you try to bug at very odd hours. You need to demonstrate a high standard of honesty, integrity, and responsibility towards yourself as well as the training committee, who is hardworking day and night for your betterment only. You have to comply with the rules and regulations of the training committee. It is not necessary to say that you have to comply with all the rules. You need to adhere to the professional ethics during the group discussion rounds and the interview rounds. The students are responsible for monitoring their progress by maintaining regular communication with the respective training coordinators. This time, we are encouraging you to have a healthy and a regular communication with your respective training coordinators. We are ready to help you in each of your process throughout the training session. If you need any kind of help, you are in any doubt that if we have to do this or we have to do that, how to get how much placements have occurred in our current department or in current year only, you can ask your training coordinators. You no need to be worried that who will think or what anyone will think, that no, I will not be asking any doubts, what my peers will think, what the person who is senior to you, or who's the person who is in training coordinator, who is in training committee, what the person will think. You shouldn't think anything like that. Feel free to ask your doubts, feel free to ask anything related to placement or the internship season. You can ask anything. The dress code will be, you have to be dressed in a professional manner, formal tie, formal trousers, formal shirt, and you should be having a neatly combed hair. A minimalistic look is always desirable for any group discussion and mock interviews. All right. The acknowledgement of training policy. Everyone should acknowledge their training policy and the training policy entirety and should conduct themselves appropriately. So that's all about the training policy. We will be sharing the PPT with you after some time. And after sharing the PPT, if you have any doubts regarding anything mentioned in the PPT, you can directly contact it to your respective training coordinators, or you can mention it in the training group itself, what doubts you have, if you have any doubts. And like that, we shall proceed. And I think it's already time. It's 1 hour 21 minutes that we are here. And I think Omkar is disconnected.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, we
I
can
think,
conclude it. Yes, yes, Ashton.
yeah. Omkar, I think there's a question for you of the
Yes.
electrical core as well. Could you just spin that here?
I think his internet is fluctuating.
Fine. For biotech, I believe a lot of people from biotech if they are interested in code, then they mostly pursue research in further future. But which are not often found. Yeah, for biotech, more or less, people go for either analytics domain, and if you want to go for code, then I would suggest you to go for research, because there are not a lot of good core companies which visit for the biotech domain. I think Omkar is facing issues. Maybe we should, yeah, maybe we should just conclude the meeting for today.
Okay, we can conclude the meet. Those guys who you have any questions, you can drop them in your respective training committee WhatsApp groups. The
Yeah,
training
you can just
coordinators,
message them personally, or you can put it
yeah,
in the group as well.
you can put it in the group so that everyone present in the group will also be cleared about your doubt. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much for joining this
For
session.
joining in, guys. Yeah.
We are there to help you throughout in this whole session. If you have any doubt regarding anything, departmental wise or placement internship wise, you can ask us. All right. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
I think we can end the meet. Thank you so much. Jesh, we can